Okay, for the female reproductive, what you first need to find for the female is she has two little round structures sitting in the lower part of her coelom. One little round one, another little round one. What is this? It begins her reproductive system. Her ovaries. Function of them, two things. Female hormones and eggs. From there, you guys, if you actually grab the ovary, you're going to see a tiny coiled up tube next to it, which is actually the what? Oviducts. Job of the oviduct, transport eggs and sperm. Both can actually swim through there, okay? Sperm and ova. Now, from these tiny coiled up tubes that are still kind of near the ovary, you're going to see what looks like these little white tubes that are coming to the middle, and they join right underneath the bladder. Okay, they come down and unite underneath the bladder. Okay, does everyone see those? Let me zoom in here. Ovary, coiled up oviduct, and these tubes coming down, you guys, are actually, at this point, part of the top of the uterus. They're called the uterine horns. Okay, so if I go down underneath this, if I just pick up on my bladder, I should see directly underneath it is this white tube. This is the uterus, which dove underneath the bladder. Again, I can kind of put my probe under here to follow it. The uterine horns come down and turn into this tube right here, which is the uterus. What's the function of the uterus? To store what for development? Store the fetus for development, okay? Now, here is the bladder draining to the urethra. This is the uterus. You'll see they unite, which means what is this passageway? That's the female what? It's part of the reproductive. Under the uterus is the what? The vagina, which is the site of copulation. Okay? So it's her copulatory organ. Does that make sense? So ovaries to oviducts, coil down uterus. If I'm going to pin the uterus, you guys, I'm going to pin it from this side because obviously it's much easier to see. You're going to see two tubes that fuse into one. The lower tube is the what? Uterus. The upper tube, which is in contact with the bladder, is the urethra. They both unite at the vagina and exit out of the vulva. Okay? Now under it, you're going to see this big tube here, right? If you go up and follow this tube, it's this one right here. What is this tube? That's still the what? The rectum, which is where the solid feces are being stored until it exits out. What? The anus, which is the tube that's the most posterior on the body.